Manchester United 2, Everton 1. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Wavy Baller Hub. I'm your host, Temi. If this is your first time watching, make sure to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and follow the movement that is the Wavy Baller Hub. Man, we got through it. We got through it in the end. Crazy game. Absolutely crazy game. That ending was stressful if I've ever seen one, but we have a few minutes here to break down what we just saw in that game. I got a great guest with me. I'm going to bring in my guy Cam into the show. Cam, what is good, bro? You're on mute, bro.
Sorry. Yeah, no,
Oh, you're good.
Here again. Thanks for inviting me on again. It's been
Of course, man. Of course. You said what, bro?
Another great 3 points.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Very, very stressful 3 points. Very stressful 3 points. But man, it was a big one. It's a very for me, it was a very, I guess, hot and cold game. There was a lot of really, really good moments, and then there was a lot of just like head scratcher moments. And I definitely think this is what this season is going to be. It's going to be knocking off a lot of the rust that we've built up over the past 5 years, in my opinion. But no, what were your thoughts on the game as a whole? What did you like to see? How were your overall feelings?
I mean, I thought the first half was brilliant. Like, it was really, really good football the whole time, and pretty much it was only sort of one mistake from Casemiro that ended up with them putting the ball in the back of the net. But outside of that, we didn't really concede any chances first half, created plenty of our own. And I think in a lot of ways, the game reflected the team selection and it all worked out pretty well. Because obviously we started with Rashford and Antony on the wings, Martial through the middle as well. But when you've got Rashford and Antony on the wings, obviously that's good for a transitional sort of game. And it was interesting that obviously the first goals for both teams came through transitions. And actually, Everton have been set up really well this season to play on the counter attack. They've conceded, I think, coming into today, they've conceded the fewest goals in the league. So
yeah,
they're good defence, but they've been sitting deep. And as soon as they win the ball back, they're trained to get the whole team sprinting forwards, flooding forward to try and go and attack the opponent on the counter.
right.
And what that meant was that when it was a bit scrappy, when it wasn't just sort of one team winning the ball, when it was a couple of times we gave them the ball with a bad pass, their team started flooding forward, and then we immediately won it back again. And that's where we got the 2 goals from. So it was it was a strange game in a lot of ways, but the team selection really paid off in terms of it was pretty much ideal for that sort of game. So obviously we created some, maybe it's a bit unfair to say we were waiting just for transitions, but it worked, so can't complain too much.
No, 100%. I definitely I see your point. I feel like felt like a very traditional, Premier League English matchup, right? A lot of energy and pace, but also a lot of just loose balls, tackles being won in midfield. I thought we handled it well, though. Obviously, I mean, I want to speak about Casemiro really quick. He had a very mixed bag game, and I think he's learning how quick the pace of this league is. And we live in a very microwave, society, right? Like people want players to just be perfect as soon as they get into a club, right? But it's just not the case. Sometimes it takes players some time to get used to the speed of this league. And Casemiro is learning very quickly. Like you can't dilly-dally on the ball in this league. But then he also showed some really good moments where like the things that McTominay just, in my opinion, can't do in terms of some of the balls around the corner, his ability to just be in midfield and scan and then make a pass. Like I thought a lot of good things were there, but then, a lot of shakiness. What were your thoughts on his performance?
Yeah, I thought he was really good today. Obviously, he had that moment early on for their goal, but I can't think of a United midfielder in recent times that hasn't had that exact moment. I think Fred had one. It was maybe against Burnley. I can't remember exactly who it was against, but Fred had one where he showed for the ball on the edge of the box, lost it, we conceded really badly, and he learnt quickly after that. I think he did some at the time did some work with Carrick, I think, who was one of the coaches at the time, on how to not lose the ball in those situations. Pogba's done that countless times, obviously not with United anymore, but the point is, it's not just Casemiro. Every midfielder pretty much makes that mistake at some point, especially when you're coming to a new league. You learn that the intensity's different to what you've had before, and you've got to be scanning all the time. You've got to have eyes in the back of your head. And he made that mistake, but after that, he was pretty good on the ball. I mean, you can see the difference now from when he first came in. He was giving balls away left, right, and centre. Didn't really know where his sort of teammates were going to be, but now you can see he's so much more composed. When he is dropping in to receive the ball, he's got much better angles of his pass than you can see sometimes. when he's dropping deep, if he's receiving the ball off De Gea or the centre backs, where McTominay would be able to either, in that situation, either pass it to the centre back or the full back. Sometimes Casemiro could even get his body far round enough that he can give it straight to Anthony on the wing,
Exactly.
or on the other side as well. So
exactly.
he's been brilliant. And also, I think the other thing was his just reading of the game, interceptions, putting his foot in at the right time, and obviously that ball for Ronaldo for the goal was brilliant.
Beautiful. And I think that was vintage Casemiro, right? I thought that was the key because we were better. Like, how many times I think over the course of the past couple of years, we've lost most of our midfield battles, right?
Yeah.
Today was not the case. Eriksen was sublime. I mean, absolutely sublime. I can't even. There's just no words. There's just no words. Like, we haven't had a midfielder like that in so long. I don't want to compare him to some of the greats we've had, obviously, because that's very reactionary. But someone who literally just has they're dictating the tempo of the game, right? That's just something that we have not had in so long. Let's see some of the comments here. Got to get a speed and aggressive midfielder to pair with whoever else in that pivot. Casemiro, Eriksen too slow and not aggressive enough. Those boys in midfield for Everton were causing us some issues. Yes, their quality helped them today, but I want us to have more control in midfield. It was a weird one. I mean, yes, it was a little. We dominated possession. Let's be real. Like, I can't really remember what the possession stats were, but there was a point in that first half where we were like 71% possession. Like,
yeah, I think first half we did, but I'm not sure we won the midfield battle. I wouldn't say. I think Casemiro played quite well individually, but I think the problem in midfield that we've had quite a lot and doesn't seem to be going away is Bruno just goes missing.
No, of course.
All times he seems to be he never seems to be where you need him. Defensively, he's always. I get what we're trying to do. We've had for maybe the last 2-3 seasons, we've gone into like a 4-4-2 defensively, where Bruno joins the striker to sort of, when we're pressing high, to sort of help us have a sort of line of two at the front, because that's better for pressing.
Yeah.
But then the bit he doesn't seem to do is when the ball goes beyond him, when the ball's in the midfield area, he doesn't then track back to support his midfield. So we're pretty much always playing 2v3 in that midfield because we've got the deeper two and Bruno's missing somewhere. And sometimes it's made worse because Rashford or Anthony aren't back in position. Actually, no, you know what? I'm not going to put Anthony in that. Anthony does get back in.
Yeah, he tracked back today. I thought he tracked back today. Yeah. I gave him a credit for that.
Defensive work's pretty good. It's Rashford that a couple of times doesn't track back, but Bruno. People have to talk about Bruno because he's not doing what you need from a midfield player. With the ball, he's often in the wrong place, and without it, he's even worse.
Yeah, and the thing is, he's not a midfield player. Like, I think that's what we call him, a midfielder. He's genuinely not a midfield. Like, I think it's because for Portugal, right, he plays a bit deeper. They're a very, very pragmatic team. But if you're giving Bruno if you call Bruno a quote unquote 10, he's not going to play like a 10. He's going to play like if Man City, like if you play like Foden did last year as a false nine for Man City, like just be hovering in around, making all that stuff. But again, I think our biggest challenge, and I mentioned this on my preview show, is I would still say we won the battle overall because Everton were sloppy too. Like, granted, they have more bodies in midfield, yes, but again, like, I think our midfielders to a man, right, play better than their midfielders to a man. Yes, they won some balls back.
Yeah, better, but it's about, like, if you look at the collective as a whole, I don't think we did well in that area. I think it was it was unfortunate because we were really good for a lot of the game, but when we weren't good, the problem was that Bruno had gone missing. Ronaldo doesn't. Sometimes the thing with him is he does individual actions that look really good, and you have 5 minutes where he doesn't really contribute anything. And so people, if you're a big Ronaldo fan, you'll point to the individual actions and you'll say, look, he's won the ball here, he's done this, he's pressed at this time.
Right.
But when he's not doing that, he's just walking around, not really offering too much. Right. Whereas you need a more consistent level all the time of just always doing something. At least even if you're just running at 70% pace, if you're closing down the centre backs all the time, giving them a little bit less time on the ball, that gives your midfielders a little bit less work to do, which helps. And everything sort of builds up. But yeah, the midfielders played well individually, but I don't think we can say we won the midfield battle because I think they just had too much success in that area, unfortunately.
Yeah, and again, I'm going to keep saying this till I'm blue in the face. We need an extra man in midfield. I just top level teams don't play with 2 midfielders, right? They just don't, right? You have 3 at a minimum, right? And then you have wingers who are probably doing the defensive work, working the hard yards. You need to have a minimum of, 3 or 4 midfield players who are willing to do that, like grafting work. Bruno grafts, but it's just very erratic and
Yeah.
it's not helpful, right? A lot of it, like sometimes I wonder, like, let's say Martial was fit, right? Why don't we just make Martial a 10 and then just let Bruno just do the dirty work up top, like in terms of pressing and stuff like that. But no, it's a weird one. It's an interesting one. Let's get into the comments today. Everton had 2 shots on target. We played well overall with some mistakes. I'm just thinking ahead to if this team gets genuinely completed under Ten Hag. If fans can't see the world class that was Casemiro today, then they are watching something else. Who was that big guy in the Everton midfield? That type of profile is what I mean with, no, that's Onana. He's a beast. He really is.
He's
That's
looking good so far.
well money. That looks like money well spent for sure. Bruno still runs just to run a lot, honestly. No, I agree with that point. I want to touch on one more thing. Or let's get into the goals. Before I do that, we'll do player ratings here in about 5 minutes. First goal, obviously off of a mistake. Antony was kind of in a tight corner, gave it to Casemiro in a weird spot. Casemiro, he lost the ball, yes, and it was a tough challenge, right? I don't think it was a foul. I think it would be soft to give a foul there, if I'm being honest. But Antony didn't give him the best. He didn't have a lot of options, right? He took a touch, and then before he could even breathe, right? I can't think it was it Iwobi that won back the ball or Onana? I can't remember. I can't remember, but then again, a pass goes forward, then to Iwobi, and Iwobi scores a screamer. Right? There's not too much you can say about that, but what were your thoughts on that first goal?
Yeah, I think you've pretty much summarised it. Antony shouldn't really have given Casemiro the ball there, but then when he's got it, Casemiro's probably got to protect it a bit better. And after that, there's not a lot we could really do because obviously all our players were concentrated on that in sort of the right half of the pitch as we looked at it, and obviously got transferred out nicely. And look, I think on a different day, if he can see it a bit better, De Gea probably saves that because he wasn't too far away from it. But one thing I do want to say, I want to give De Gea a lot of credit. You might know I'm not the biggest fan of De Gea at all. I've never really backed him in terms of his sweeping, his positioning, his distribution. But today he was brilliant. He was off his line a lot of times. There was one where I can't remember what it was. Maybe Dalot gave it away, possibly. I mean, he gave quite a few balls away today, Dalot. But there was one particular really good bit of sweeping from De Gea where the Everton player, and he's obviously his distribution was really good as well, playing 1 and 2 touch, keeping things going. I think there was one time when he got a little bit too keen and fizzed one into midfield and nearly lost it. But overall, it's a massive improvement. And this is what I want from De Gea. If he could do this every week, his shot stopping is up there with some of the best. So if he's got the distribution, the positioning, the sweeping alongside it, then great, we've got a serious goalkeeper. But I don't see it consistently enough. But if he can keep doing this, fair enough to him.
No, 100%. I think, like you said, the sweeping thing for De Gea was I thought this was probably his. I don't want to speak out of turn, but this was probably his best performance this season, just in terms of he made a lot of big plays, like the right at the end there when Everton were applying the pressure on the corner kicks. Right, there was a or was it a free kick? I can't remember. Garner put in a beautiful ball. Right, Garner put in a beautiful ball. It was Onana was laid out on a plate. De Gea gets there, just steps out, gets in there, and it makes a big play. Let's talk about the first United goal, second goal of the game. I believe it was Antony who scores it.
Yes.
I can't remember who wins the ball back in midfield. It was a mistake. It was a mistake from somebody. Was it Casemiro who won the ball back from Iwobi? Right?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
So
I know. Oh no, excuse me. It was Idrissa Gueye who gave up the ball for the first goal.
Right.
And then I can't.
We had it initially because Dalot might have given a bad ball to Ericsson.
Yeah.
And when Idrissa Gueye then won it, and then we won it straight back off Idrissa Gueye and then gave it to Antony, I think.
Right. Something like that. But again, then when we win it back, Martial with the quality pass into Anthony's feet. And Antony, he's a cool finisher, man. He's a really I've been a little cautiously optimistic about him. I'm going to be honest with you. I still think in terms of build-up, there's sometimes where I feel like he slows down the play, but that play in particularly, the run was excellent. The pass from Martial is just that's what you want, right? That's what you want from your center forward. What were your feelings on that goal? And then a cool finish by Antony there.
No, I loved it, but I think it was an example of what we mentioned at the start in terms of because there was a couple of quick turnovers of possession. We gave it to Everton. Their fullbacks were flooding forward. The whole team was trying to get forward to get on the break. We won
Mm,
it back pretty much instantly afterwards. There was that gap for Anthony to run into. He recognised the space.
mm,
The rest is just top quality, really. And you can
yeah,
see now why we paid so much just to have a left-footed forward, if anything. If nothing else, this
right.
winger who's left-footed gives us a bit more balance in that front three, and it
Mm,
means we finish a bit more effectively from the right because yeah, in recent seasons we've been missing that quite a bit with whoever's been playing there, playing out of
mm,
position. So it was nice to see,
yeah.
um, and yeah, it was a nice start for Anthony. Keeps his goal scoring record up.
No, 100%. And then the second goal, Casemiro wins it back from Iwobi beautifully because Iwobi's in a lot of open space, so he should get past Casemiro realistically. But Casemiro just anticipates it well, and then the through ball, the weight of pass for that ball, right? Ronaldo huffed and puffed, got his goal, right? It was a good finish. It was a good finish. But we got some throwback Real Madrid vibes, some 2014 vibes there. But what were your thoughts?
No, exactly the same thing. As soon as that happened, I was just thinking, how many times have we seen that for Real Madrid in those
Yeah.
previous years? But it was again, it's the difference between sort of a player that when you look at stats, for example, if you're looking at passes, for example, you get even if you pass the ball, it's a 2 yard pass, and you smash it at the other player's chest and they miscontrol it. Technically, it's a completed pass because it still hits them, right? They
Mm-hmm.
still get the next touch.
Mm,
You get players like Ericsson, who, for example, they always pass it to the correct foot of the player with the right weight of pass as well. You get
mm,
that with tackles as well, where some players sort of win the ball and yes, technically they've won it, but they don't come out of the challenge with any control. Whereas
right.
Casemiro, because his anticipation is brilliant, a lot of the time he can go through the player, he can win the ball, but he knows that he manages to do it in a way that he comes out with the ball and comes out with
Mm,
it under control, so he can move it on with his next touch, and
right.
that's the difference there. You've seen obviously in terms of winning that ball, he's the tackle. Yeah, he gets the tackle on the stats, but it's more than that. He's come out with the ball in a position that
Mm,
he can move it forward with his next touch,
yep.
and obviously the way it passes is brilliant. And Pickford gets his angles possibly a little bit wrong there,
Yeah.
and Ronaldo beats him at his near post with a great finish. But yeah, fantastic goal again.
No, yeah, I agree with my guy Hammerhead. It is a massive skill to have the ability to win the ball back and then be able to have enough space and time because you won the ball back so cleanly to make a move. 100%. It was a really really classy piece of play there by Casemiro. No, but let's get into the player ratings. We're 20 minutes in. Let's run through these player ratings. We'll start with David De Gea. I'll let you start with that one, Cam.
You know what? I think I would give him a 10, but I think just for
10.
his high, yeah, I think just for his high standards, I think on a different day he probably saves the Everton goal because it was so close, and I think
Mm,
on a different day maybe he could see a little bit more and he gets there a little bit quicker. But for the rest of his all-round game today, it's what I've been crying out for from De Gea for ages. I'll give him a 9.
mm. 9. Okay, I was gonna say 8. I was gonna say 8. He had a really I don't think he had a lot to do, right?
No,
On the whole, right? Everton didn't really have like their goal they scored one was a screamer for being it was just a great finish. But then what else did he really have to do up until that point where, he came out once, pretty importantly, to play sweeper keeper, and then he had the huge touch at the end there. So yes, I think maybe I'm being harsh. Maybe I'm the one being harsh here. I was gonna give him an 8, but no, fair play, fair play.
no, I think eight's fair enough. I think
Yeah,
I've been very generous because it's not. He's shown a lot of things that I haven't seen from him before, so
yeah, no fair.
I'm getting carried away. I think.
Yeah, yeah. If fans can't see the work, yeah, no, we've seen that. We've already seen that one. Lofi's mask good to have. Okay, at right back, Diogo Dallo. I'll start with this one. I'm gonna give him a 5. I thought he was pretty poor today. I'm gonna be honest with you. There were so many moments where it's like he has this, like he was still doing Dallo things in terms of you could see the quality that he has when he is on his game, but there was so many lapses of concentration today. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was the pressure that but I felt like he had space and time a lot, and was still making mistakes, which is indicative of someone who's just not as locked in as they need to be throughout the course of a 90 minutes. But maybe I'm being harsh. What would you give him?
No, I agree. I think there are a lot of times when he picks up the ball in the right back position, he tries to play it into midfield to Eriksen or to
Mm,
Casemiro, and he just gets that ball 5 yards off by
yeah.
5 yards by quite a margin. And a lot
Mm,
of times Everton just nicked it back off because of that.
mm,
I think maybe you could put it down to obviously he's not playing with Varane today, so maybe he was a bit more stressed, thinking, okay, if I've got Lindelof here, he's not quite as quick, so I've got to be more secure, and maybe that affected his sort of game. I don't know. It
mm,
could just be an off day as well, so it could be anything. But
yeah.
I mean, the important bit was that defensively, when he had to make a challenge, when he had to do things, he was there in the right place, which is good. But
Right.
yeah, the ball he was pretty poor.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Let's go to right center back Lindelof. I'll let you start with that one. How'd you feel about his performance?
I give him a 6. I think you noticed that Varane's not playing because I think that was part of the reason we just kept dropping deeper and deeper because we didn't have Varane's
Mm,
pace to cover
mm,
Martinez when he was getting more aggressive. But yeah, I think he was okay. He didn't do too much wrong.
mm. Yeah, I was gonna say 6.5, 7. I thought well, and we'll get to Martinez here in a second. I thought they passed the ball really well
Yeah,
today. Like, and it even goes back to the last game, right? He made a big mistake for the second goal last game, but again, the passing, like I felt bad for the defense against Ammonia or whatever you call their names. But the passing again, Lindelof, it's like very underrated for him like because he's not a physically imposing guy by any means. He doesn't have like that like character, that Martinez is like he makes a tackle and you feel it and it's aggressive. And Lindelof is kind of just cool about everything he does, right? He's just a very cool operator. I was gonna give him a 7, only because I thought his passing was really, really, really good today. I don't think I don't can't remember him putting a foot wrong. Genuinely, I can't remember a mistake he made. I remember some Martinez mistakes. I can't remember any Lindelof mistakes, but 6, 7, fair enough, fair enough. How about Martinez? What would you give him today?
so I would give him a 7. I think you might be going the other way
Mm,
around here, giving him a 6. But for me, I think
mm,
a lot of times when he got given difficult situations on the ball, sort of like a bouncing pass or not much time to react, or someone's fizzed a pass into him,
mm.
and he dealt with it without rather than just dealing with it by kicking it out or whatever, he just brings it down perfectly and just keeps the play moving. It's
Yeah, yeah.
great to watch, and there's a lot of fantastic passes forward into midfield. Kept things
Mm.
ticking over, was pretty good, I thought.
Yeah, yeah. I was probably gonna give him a 7 as well. He like again, this is just nitpicking because how I rate players is like not just off of the individual mistakes, right? It's like the sum of the parts, and he rarely makes a mistake. Like the quality he has on the ball it's he makes passing look very easy, and that's one of my favorite things about a footballer. Like if you can make the job you're doing look extremely simple, it's highly impressive. He made maybe one or two loose passes, um, one back the ball a lot. Especially in that first half, I thought he was really, really impressive. He was stepping out and winning tackles, and I was like, "Whoa, this guy's he's moving a little different today." And then it kind of got quieter in the second half, but no, yeah, I think a 7 is a fair score. And then at left back, Luke Shaw, I'd give him a 6.5, 6, 6. I'll give him a 6. I thought he played well. Maybe I'm being harsh. I can't remember too many things he did wrong. He got skinned maybe a couple times in the first half, but the second half I thought he was really good. So I'll give him a 6. What do you think about Shaw's performance?
I'd probably give him a 7. I think he was
Mm,
really good on the ball. I think, yeah, there
yeah,
were a couple of times he could have done better defensively, but I think he was really good on the ball. But yeah, decent
yeah,
performance.
yeah. My guy Hammer says fucking ice man. Yes, indeed. Um, Casemiro, what would you give? This is gonna be an interesting one. What would you give Casemiro today?
Probably an 8 overall. I think the mistake was a big one. Um, Obviously, not all his fault, as we mentioned, but yeah, I think he was really good after that. Really, really good. But yeah, 8 overall, I think.
Yeah, I'll give him a 7. I'll give him a 7. Maybe I'm being harsh. Um, he had outside of the mistake, there were also other loose passes, right? That didn't get, you know, didn't end up in something major happening, right?
Yeah,
And it's very, very obvious that he's not used to the pace of this league, right? It's like it sticks out. Like even the good things he did, it feels like he feels very rushed right now. And back when he was playing for Madrid, he was playing with two of the best midfielders we'd ever seen in football, right? With Kroos and Modric, right? So they were the ones dropping deep, helping progress the ball. We're giving him a lot of responsibility in that midfield too with Eriksen, as you can tell. Like, he's getting the ball from the center backs and turning, right? I don't know how comfortable he is doing that consistently because I don't think he was asked to do that as much in his previous team. But no, I think once the speed of the league, once he catches up to that, I think we're gonna have a really, really top quality defensive midfield on our hands. Yeah, but it's an interesting one, man. I hope Casemiro can get up to speed quick because I know the English media wants to get on his back. Ace, like they want to get on his back. I've already been seeing the grumblings. But let's see. Next person, I'll go with Eriksen. Eriksen, what would you give him today?
I'll give him a 7. I thought it was a good performance, but not outrageous, but a very good performance.
Yeah, man, Eriksen, I give him higher than that because I think that I'll probably give him I'll just say 7.5. Right. I thought he was good today. I think there's a lot of the things he does go very underrated. Like he was the one dictating the pace of this game, right? And for me, yes, Casemiro had moments where he was picking the ball up, and Eriksen wasn't picking the ball from the center backs as much as he normally would. But there was moments where I thought, there was 5-minute spells in the game where he was just imprinting his will on it, right? So I'm going to give him a 7.5. Decent performance, guys. Get your thoughts in the comments on what you think Eriksen did today. Next up, Bruno Fernandez. I'm going to give him. It's always so tough with Bruno. It's always so tough. I think I'm going to give him a 5. I don't think he added too much to this game. Genuinely, I can't really think of anything extremely positive that he did. Like where I'm like, okay, this was Bruno winning the ball back, or this was Bruno, and that's not normally how. I'm not saying that's individual moments or what you judge players on, but as a whole, like even in the build-up, I think he could have been a lot better. I don't know about you. What were your thoughts on his performance today?
No, I agree completely.
Oh, did we lose Cam there?
No, I'm still in. Just
go ahead. Go ahead.
I think you summarized it perfectly.
No, fair enough. You went. Your screen went a little silent there for a second, but that's all good. Anthony, on that right hand side, what would you give him today?
7. I think he did his defensive work brilliantly, which is really important. Obviously, actually, you know what? An 8.
8.
Did his defensive work brilliantly, and obviously your job as an attacking player is to take your chances when they come, and he did. So fair enough.
Yeah,
can't really ask too much more from him.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think an 8's a fair score. It's strictly because of the defensive work. Honestly, like yes, his goal was brilliant. I thought he had really good moments in the build-up. I still think he can improve in the build-up by a lot. Like he has a long way to go there, in my opinion. But he's a grafter, and I didn't think we were gonna get a grafter. I didn't watch that much of him at Ajax, so I was always gonna hold my judgment. But he's doing a lot more defensive work than I ever thought he was gonna do. Maybe that was just bias on my end, thinking, okay, well, he's a skill player. He's like Vinicius. He just stays up top and just doesn't really help defensively. But no, he really actually grafts. So yeah, no, I completely agree. 8. We'll go Ronaldo now. We'll go Ronaldo, then we'll go to Martial later. But we'll go to Ronaldo right now.
I think I'd probably give him a 7. Obviously, good finish when it came. Had a couple of other good moments, but I don't think he did too much else. I think without the goal, it probably would have been a 5. But yeah, obviously, you need people that are going to take the chances when they come, and he did. So fair enough.
Yeah, I'll give him a 6. I thought that this was his best game of the season, which is saying a lot until where he is in his career right now. But he got the all-important goal. It was a good finish, right? Maybe Pickford probably could have done better there after watching it back. At his near post, didn't get down quick enough, but it was a good strike. It was a good strike, and he had you can tell he's just his pace is completely gone. But he had to pick the ball up and make a little run there. Like it was 3 or 4 really good strides, right, to get to that goal. So Yeah, I'll give him a 6. But yeah, like you said, the build up, he's just non-existent. So you can't really give him more than that. The next person is Rashford. What would you give him today? It's an interesting one.
I'll give him a 6. I don't think he really affected the game that much.
Mm.
There were a few times when I think his pace forced the Everton backline a little bit deeper, especially when Ronaldo was on rather than Martial. But in terms of him actually doing much with the ball or affecting the game, I didn't really see it.
Yeah, I'm a bit disappointed. I'll give him a 5. It was Seamus Coleman on him today. Obviously, Seamus Coleman has been a wonderful professional. I don't want to disrespect him in any way, but he's not the same Seamus Coleman that he was 8 years ago, 5 years ago, right?
Yeah.
He's just, he's lost a yard of pace. Literally, he's lost a couple yards of pace probably, and he was kind of bullying Rashford, especially in that first half. I was just like, this is kind of unacceptable. Unfortunately, he got a goal called back. That was a really good piece of play there by him. But it doesn't count, so we can't really grade that, right? So I'm gonna give him a 5. I thought he had an opportunity to really rubber stamp his position in the team, and I don't think he did that. I don't think he did that. Sancho hasn't played well, so I thought Rashford deserved to start, right? I think off the back of what he did in the Europa League, he deserved to start, but no, I think it's a 5 for me. It's a 6 for you, 5 for me. Not too different. Anthony Martial, what were your thoughts on his brief cameo?
Yeah, I mean, he didn't really do enough to be rated. Obviously, he got
Yeah.
his assist. I don't think he impacted the game too much defensively. You could see,
Yeah.
even whilst he was on, his work rate wasn't what you'd hope from him. So it's
Yeah.
tough. I'll probably give him a 6 because he wasn't on long, but he did get his assist. So.
Yeah, I'll give him a 6 as well. I think once the injury, he spent a lot of time on the pitch injured. He probably spent like 5 or 6 minutes on the pitch, just kind of like, he couldn't really move, and it's really sad. I'm gonna get on a little tangent here. It's so sad what's happening to him. I think his body is breaking down. Like no exaggerate. I don't think I'm exaggerating when saying that. When you can't go a whole half of football without coming out injured, or a game without coming out, like every game he's played in outside of the ammonia game, he's been hurt. He's gotten hurt. He's come up with a little niggling injury. And it's so sad because you can see the quality, but there's just no way you can rely on a player like that. We actually need to go and get a striker in January. Like we really should go and find a Martial type, right? In January. I mean, those don't grow on trees, unfortunately, right? You're not gonna find a player with that type of quality just anywhere, or at least for a good price, right? But it's really sad to see. I don't know what your thoughts are on that situation.
No, I completely agree. It's sad that the way we've treated him, because obviously under Ollie, he was sort of told you're going to play as the number 9, but you need to bulk up a bit. He's bulked up a bit, and I think that seems to have killed him because as soon as he bulked up, he lost his explosiveness, and that was the beginning of the end for him under Ollie. Because what he was so good at was that sort of first and second step acceleration to get away from a man, beat a player, just being able to be tricky. And for the rest of Solskjaer's reign, he never sort of managed to lose that weight because he was still thinking he's going to play as the 9. So he never managed to recover from that. Obviously, then went to Sevilla, had a pretty poor loan spell. Over the summer, he looks like he's got himself in much better shape. And obviously, he's come out, he's done those interviews about saying how many times he played through injury for Solskjaer, how many times he had to do this, had to do that, jump through all those hoops. And it sounds like just that amount of mistreatment has just caught up with him. So it's one of those where it happens a lot in football where obviously, because it's so short term with managers and coaching teams and stuff, they put the needs of the team immediately above players' careers and sort of players' health, which sometimes ends up in situations like this, which is quite sad.
You're right. It's kind of unfortunate, but it is what it is. I'm trying to think of the subs who came on and if they played long enough. To be honest with you, let me see.
Rated.
Yeah, was it just so it was Varane? Varane had first of all, Varane had 2 huge contributions. He had the first clearance, his first touch was that clearance, and then the second header. Yeah. Oh my goodness, that is what you bring in Varane for, because like if he doesn't get his head on that, it's a goal. It's a goal. It's that simple. Like I'm gonna give him a 10. Yeah, I'm kidding. I kid. But
I mean, you can't do more than that off the bench, can you?
Yeah, 90th minute performance, and you do that. Like that was pretty impressive. And then obviously Ronaldo was the other sub. We talked about him, McTominay. got a yellow card. I think he's going to be suspended for the next game, right? Was that his
Yeah.
fifth? Was that his fifth? So he came on to get suspended for the next game, I guess. It's whatever. I don't have. It's interesting, man. It looks like there's a lot of people falling off the pecking order, like the likes of Fred. He seems like he's done for. Alanga's dropped out of the Alanga's kind of dropped out of the conversation recently, and I feel bad for him because I thought he was playing decently well. I think people.
Yeah, but he's just not got that quality the rest of our forwards have.
Yeah.
He tries hard, he works hard, but he's just not got the quality.
Yeah, but it's an interesting one, guys. And get your thoughts in the comments. It's a very, very big win for us. Very big win for us. I think that this is going to be a season where we really need to be patient. You know what I mean? I think that fans we think so short term. You know, we don't think that we don't understand how difficult it is to build a footballing institution back up, right? Like I'm seeing what Arteta is doing, right? Like it's highly impressive. I got to admit it. Like it's highly impressive to see the process because they had a lot of growing pains. You know, the fans clamoring for him to get sacked over and over and over, and they persisted with him. And it seems like he's rewarding them for that. You know, he's rewarding the club for sticking with him. So we need to do the same, right? We need to do the same with this manager, back him, right? In my opinion, give him time in terms of we've had a couple gross blowouts. we've held 4 against Brentford. We held 6 against City. But I think it's just part of the process.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But Guys, Cam, I appreciate you so much, man. Appreciate you so much as always for hopping on the channel and showing love. Make sure to subscribe to Cam's YouTube channel as well as checking him out on United View TV. When are you going to be on that channel next, Cam?
I think next weekend or next Monday. So
good. Yeah. So guys, make sure to show Cam love. His information is in the description. Make sure to show him love. Like I said, guys, thank you so much. Make sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and we will talk to you guys very, very shortly. Okay. Deuces.